Do I leave my honeymoon? I, 35F. Don't know what to do about husbands, 41M, drinking. My husband and I just got married and are on our honeymoon. However, his drinking has been over the top and this morning I think I hit my breaking point. After everything this morning I know I can't forgive him with just an apology and it will take time and action on his part. I don't want to leave our new marriage but I'm not sure what to do with the rest of our honeymoon. We have 9 days left in Europe together. What do I do? What would you do? He went out by himself last night and came back in the wee hours of the morning absolutely hammered. We had already been out to a late dinner with quite a bit of wine before he went out, and I was ready for bed after a day of traveling. I had asked him to stay in with me but he was hellbent on continuing to drink. When he returned he was just nasty to me. Woke me up, turned on the telly and played music to keep me awake. When I asked him to be respectful of me wanting to sleep he went off. Got in my face, called me names, threw my phone against the wall, and was ragingly jealous over what seems like the fact that I had a dating history prior to our 7-year relationship. Please no comments on 7 years to propose? As marriage was not something that was important to either of us until recently. The context of it all was all so odd. I left the room while he slept it off but upon returning I found myself not wanting to hear any of his apology. History: he is a binge drinker. He doesn't drink weekly but when he does there is never just one drink, it's a full-blown binge session that will last all night into sunrise. I've vocalized my concern with this many times, suggested therapy or but everyone, friends, family, tells him he doesn't have a problem since he isn't a daily drinker. Over the past year his mood has changed significantly when drinking. He's gotten more angry, jealous, and mean when drunk. He quit drinking for about 9 months, but now it's back with vengeance. I don't know what to do about the rest of our honeymoon. Do I send him home and stay by myself? Do I leave? Do I attempt to forgive and postpone working through it until we return home? I can't forgive him right now. I feel like his actions have tainted the memory of what I thought was going to be a beautiful time in our lives and it's going to take more than an apology for me to move forward. Help, weary, this is such a mess. Rest of honeymoon? How about the rest of your life? Welcome to the preview. What kind of magical thinking did you have around this problem? Did you really think it would change because you got married? This has been an ongoing issue that you've known about for years. When people show you who they are, you should believe them. People aren't projects. You can't control what others do, only what you're willing to accept. He's an abusive drunk. That's the bottom line. If that's what you want to deal with indefinitely, then carry on. If not, I'd head on home and call an attorney and start taking steps to divorce and move on. I'd also suggest individual therapy for you because there's got to be some underlying reason why you've been willing to accept this for so long. I'm sorry. I know it sucks, but he's not going to change. Best option: send him home and enjoy the rest of your holiday. Reasonable option: cancel any accommodation you can get refunds on and/or book yourself new accommodation you won't be sharing with him. Don't lose 9 days holiday worrying about him. The issue is not going to be resolved in that time, and decisive action from you now will give him some idea of the long-term consequences of his behavior. When you get home, it's either straight to couples counseling or a divorce lawyer depending on how he behaves. Book a flight home. Get an annulment. You're welcome. So you know about this issue while you were dating, engaged, and waited until the home to address it? My F27 husband, M31, doesn't include our kids and I to go to events with him. Before COVID, things were fine. We'd go everywhere together as a family. After COVID, however, he stopped including us. A lot of times, his friends invited all of us to go, but he would say that they invite him only. For some examples: 1. It was my husband's cousin's wedding. She invited us to her wedding through Facebook. She said she couldn't tag my husband, so for me to let him know. I told him about it and he said, "Oh, since we don't have a babysitter, why don't you stay and I'll just go by myself." 2. My husband another cousin invited us to his wedding. He said to bring the whole family. Yet husband said, "Since you don't know them, I'll just go by myself." 3. My husband's friend and his wife have an annual Halloween party. She invited us to go. And again, my husband said we don't have a babysitter so he'll just go by himself. 4. One of his friend is throwing a surprise birthday for his wife and he invited us but also said that his sister-in-laws will invite the girls. However, they never sent me an invite, so my husband said since the girls didn't invite for me to not to go. He'll go by himself. 5.
Almost every friend's barbecue, gatherings, my husband would say it's just a boys' night. Yet sometimes, he'll come home and said people, his girl cousins or friend's wife, were asking for me. Or he'll say things like I should have gone because his friends brought their GFS wives too. Basically ever since COVID, I had never gone to any of his friends' gatherings, events at all. He brings our kids here and there. I had asked him but he just say it's easier if he goes alone. I don't know if he's embarrassed of me or maybe he just don't me around when he's with his friends. I don't understand why he always say it's just boys' night when the invitation is for us as a family.
He's obviously having an affair and it sounds like his friends are covering for him. All the signs are there. Maybe it's time you took the blinkers off. Accusing you of cheating is classic projection. Probably pretty difficult to hit on women when your wife is there. Reading the comments, your replies. Your husband is more than likely having an affair. Either we go as a family or we stay home as a family. Which do you prefer? 'Cause he's bringing his second family. Spouse, 25 female. Asked to get divorced but now I'm 27 male, the bad guy? Randomly, and I do mean randomly, my spouse sent me a divorce file PDF and asked me to sign. This was completely unprovoked and random. I said sure and signed it up and asked when are we going to go file it. Suddenly my spouse's whole demeanor changed. They took their pillow, sheets, chargers etc. and went into the next bedroom. I was so confused to what I've done. This is my second marriage, first one ended on good terms. Just decided we grew apart and originally got married for reasons I can't get into, but it was to help. And I promised myself if I ever got married again, no matter how much I love them, if they want a divorce I'd do it because I don't want anyone to feel trapped. Then they went on to ask if we can still be together after the divorce. I asked, why would we if we are getting divorced? I said, maybe it's just time to go separate ways. Love them very much but I can't lie and say I haven't thought about it. They are a huge financial strain and I can go much further without them. I pay for literally everything and rolled deep into debt, $40,000. Because they got injured really badly and was unable to work for a year plus. Now they are better but still struggle to hold a job because even though the accident was now 2 years ago they still struggle to do a lot of normal everyday things and SSDI is a joke. But enough ranting. Later that night they walked in and laid down like nothing happened. I asked about the divorce and they said, no. Why would you want to get divorced? Then called me sick and terrible. I'm so lost, man. Did I become the bad guy? Then to just act like nothing happened? Their pronouns are them, they. Why I've been saying it. End this and walk away. At least they get half the debt. This reeks of a shitty relationship test thing to me. Ask them why the hell they would have sent it to begin with if they didn't want it. They obviously spent time filling it out if it went into detail about split of assets, etc. If it's not a stupid test, have they had previous major swings in personality, mood like that in the past? Dude, you're 27 and on your second marriage, slow down next time. Take the papers and file at the courthouse. They handed them to you, you should take it as they want out. Did they sign it before sending it to you? Because if so, send that S in. Go speak to a therapist because you're not just confused, your partner is being confusing on purpose and messing with you and your mental emotional well-being. Get support before you start to get hurt by this. Spouse, 33M. Thinks I'm 33F, am too old to go out. Is that true? Approximately once a month or every 6 weeks. My friends of a similar age and I go to concerts or dancing. My spouse looks after our 3-year-old on those nights, and I usually return home between 11 p.m. and 1 a.m. Occasionally, my mother offers to take care of my child overnight because she wants to, and I cover these expenses from my personal funds. We both work full-time in well-paying jobs. During these outings, I don't engage with men or partake in wild activities. It's my way of unwinding and enjoying some me time. My spouse is an introvert and isn't interested in this scene despite my previous invitations. Recently, my spouse expressed concern about my outings, primarily due to frequent social media posts where my friends tag me. These posts typically consist of a post, story showing the venue's stage, clinking glasses, or posed group photos. They don't depict wild dancing or excessive drinking. He mentioned that I'm friends with my colleagues on socials and what they might think, given my higher-up position within the company. He also pointed out that his parents have made comments about my nights out, which bothers me because they don't comment on his game nights, where I won't see him for hours 1-2 nights per week. He said he thinks it's weird at my age to go out like I do. So, my questions are: is it unusual for a 33-year-old woman who is a working professional, married, and a mother to go out occasionally? Is it fair that my spouse has his hobby 1-2 nights a week while I can't go out once a month? Is there a potential compromise to consider? I'm now concerned about the public perception I might be projecting. It is not unusual at all. Just because he's introvert and doesn't want to do the same, that's no reason for you to stop doing what you like occasionally. It's not like you're doing it every night or even every week, like he actually does. He's a bit of a hypocrite. His hobby every week is okay, but your once a month isn't faced with rolling eyes. And public perception? Public as in your friends and friends' friends that see the posts? He seems to try to control you by shaming you, my parents commented. FFS, I'm 60 and if I were well enough, I'd be going on the occasional night out with my friends and colleagues. I am finally recovering from long COVID after 3 years and hope to be able to enjoy a meal out and a few drinks with friends again soon. This seems like sexism from him, like a woman shouldn't get to go out and enjoy herself because she's a mother. He has his hobby nights and you go out very occasionally and go dancing. You should get to enjoy what you enjoy too. My wife likes to go out and sit at a restaurant with her friends, or cruise a farmer's market. I like to run long distance or fish for hours at a time. Different people enjoy different things. There's nothing wrong with that. I think the only people who have any sort of judgment about it are his parents, and he's too caught up in what they think. As long as you're acting responsibly and not engaging in conduct unbecoming a spouse, it's fine. If you do ever feel uncomfortable with your colleagues, or his parents, seeing that stuff, every platform has settings where you can control tagging and group-level visibility of posts.